Terrence Lee Randolph, March 30th, 1947, December 10th, 2024. Today we remember that freedom is not free. We have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render our honor and our gratitude.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to In Time. My name is Nicholas Lamar Suter, and the video that you just saw was of Alex Jeffrey Pretty. He was a former member of the U.S. Air Force. He worked as a nurse at the VA. He was described as a profoundly caring and gentle man. That was him giving some form of eulogy for an officer who had died, or a service member who had died at the VA. He was shot yesterday repeatedly in the back, and we are still reviewing the footage. We thought we had sort of completed the review yesterday, and in fact did an update yesterday, as we learned that while he was on his knees, he was shot in the back. But we have subsequently learned that he was the first two shots that appeared not to be while it was on the back, in fact, he was in a fetal position on the ground, but he was upright on his knees, and the first shots that hit him there were in his back as well, while he could not move. 𝐒𝐚𝐦𝐚𝐫 came out and said that he brandished a gun and had an intention of killing as many officers as possible, which would make these super officers for having stopped him before he could get off even a single shot. But footage clearly showed that while he was in fact armed, his gun was holstered, and the only time it left its holster was when it was forcibly removed by an ICE agent, in the face of incontrovertible evidence that 𝐒𝐚 had, at a minimum, been completely unaware of the situation before opining and telling people what happened. That's best case, worst case, absolutely lying about it. She walked it back and said, well, he was armed, which is not illegal in Texas. And again, in none of the videos does he appear to go for the weapon. We're going to get into some of the legalities and what that means in a minute. We're also going to cover a few other things, including a discussion on what a civil war is. And we've been talking about a civil war kind of quietly, all of us Americans, for the last few years, for the last 8 years at least, I think, was where we felt that the nation is as divided as it was during the last Civil War. And what we find increasingly is that this administration appears to want one. And I say that because it is murdering citizens of states who have broken no laws, like this man, like Renee Good. And it is, every time they get caught doing it, their answer is, well, we have to flood more ICE agents who are completely untrained into the field. And we now have entire states that are coming out in support of Minnesota and against the U.S. federal government. And while I think that's important, I think the import of that needs to be discussed. So we will be discussing that as well. We'll be discussing some more unbelievably egregious behavior on behalf of ICE. Before we get to either of those, we will get to two stories so that you are aware of them because they are important, though they are not the central topic of what we're going to be discussing today. First, the U.S. has said that it is now officially completely in place for an attack on Iran. The U.S. military has said that they have not been given instructions to attack and that there are no current plans to attack, but that they are ready to attack at a moment's notice. So all Trump has to do is give the word and an attack can be given. This is a image we have of the deployments from and staging in the area of local bases and including Carrier Strike Group 3, which, as you can see, has arrived in the area and is ready to go. So stand by one. I do. Thank you for the correction. I forget why yes, all right. I do keep conflating the Texas open carry laws with the Minnesota open carry laws, and I've been doing that because of an ongoing discussion on our Discord. Speaking of which, we're going to cover a lot today, and we're going to miss some. And the reason we're going to miss some is because there is really an awful lot to cover, and we try to put this together for you as succinctly and understandably as possible, but we always miss a few things. And if you come to our Discord, you'll see usually at least 50% more than what we air on the show. There's always decisions made right before airtime as to what we're going to air and what we're not, but you can have also discussions with people. And if you're feeling like you want to talk to someone, we have discussion rooms for people who are understandably frightened. So you can always go there, and I've been having a discussion on the Texas laws, and I keep jumping to that. Titan has just corrected me, and I'm hoping he will do so again let me rephrase that. I'm hoping he will do so again when I make the same mistake again, which I will. That notwithstanding, once again, to get to this, so the United States is now in a position where it is prepared to attack Iran at any time. My suspicion is that an attack would be imminent if for no other reason than to distract from what at this point I can only describe as the apparent homicide, a deliberate homicide of Alex Preddy. So we're expecting that reasonably imminently. And again, join us on the Discord. That's usually the first place we know. And when we go breaking, it's usually been on the Discord for at least 5 or 10 minutes. And we often break before mainstream media. So I hope you'll hit the like, subscribe, and go to the Discord and check us out. Meanwhile, the other thing I want to cover is, as of this moment, over 1 million Americans are without power. This is due to a extraordinarily large ice and snowstorm that has been going from the central United States eastward. It is already hitting the East Coast. Many areas in the East Coast are expected to get to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which I believe is about negative 23 Celsius. It is not an unheard of low on the East Coast. I have lived on the East Coast for the most part most of my life. I will tell you, I have seen negative 20 maybe 2 or 3 times before. And that in and of itself is not cause for a state of emergency, although it's extraordinarily cold and you have to take a number of precautions, keep your pipes from freezing and so on and so forth. The problem is that this is an ice storm, and I wish I could tell you I'm joking, Department of Homeland Security has reached out to the National Weather Service and asked that they not use the word ice in relation to this storm. No, I don't have the clip here. It's on our Discord. I'm not even going to justify it by playing it. But we do have the clip of it. And apparently, Department of Homeland Security is concerned that ice has been in the news a lot and would like to see the word being used less frequently. And so physical ice, that is water which has undergone a phase shift from liquid to solid, should not be used. That word, the word for that, should not be used because people are starting to have such a negative association. They want to keep it out of the news. Goebbels would be proud. I said that yesterday. Goebbels is going to just come right up out of the grave and go, oh, get the popcorn and watch, because this is right out of his playbook. National Weather Service can't say the word ice. An ice storm is an extraordinarily serious thing, having been through a number of them. As long as it's reasonably small, it's actually one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen. When you see all the trees covered in, a quarter of an inch of ice, it's like they're crystal. You're living in a crystal wonderland. If it's anything more than that, the weight is enough to topple trees, just limbs, trees, the whole 9 yards, cause roofs to collapse. It's an extraordinarily serious problem, an ice storm. And this is going to be an ice and snowstorm and a combination of negative 20 degrees on top of that. So states of emergency have been declared in multiple states. And already, as I said before, 1 million people are without power. It's also in most eastern states, they can recover power very quickly. In most eastern states, they can clear snow very quickly. They can clear several feet of snow without too much difficulty in a day. I've seen it done. I've driven through conditions like that. When it's an ice storm, everything changes. You cannot clear the snow in even a tenth the time because most of the vehicles can't go out if the roads start to freeze. They can, but it's difficult. Also, transformers get covered in ice. They get heavy. They break. The power lines break as a result of the weight of all the ice. So you see outages, the likes of which you've never seen before, and it takes weeks to recover. We've been through many hurricanes. Hurricanes are not usually a big deal for New England. One of the reasons being that the mountains and the hills kind of break up a lot of the weather. Ice storms are worse than any hurricane if they're as bad as this is purported to be. Having said that, I will say this. I find this image particularly beautiful. This is New York Times Square as of about 2 hours ago. And that is the beginning of what we're starting to see. It's going to be complete whiteout conditions. And again, it's going to be a combination of snow and ice, which is kind of a nightmare scenario. So all of us are hunkering down, and we will see where that goes. Now on to our main topic. I dislike all the comparisons to Hitler and the Gestapo because it's so easy to say, and everyone's been saying it for so long. And one of the problems is if you call everybody you meet online a Nazi, then when real Nazis show up, nobody takes you seriously. So you have to be very careful with hyperbole. In any other country, if we were looking at England and watching them go around and 6 of them dogpile on a guy and then shoot him in the back and actually empty an entire clip, we'd be outraged at that. and would say that that's not a democracy. But because it's happening here, and because we have a news media that's willing to gaslight us, and an administration that is willing to lie, and double down, and just keep gaslighting the living. And I expect our politicians to lie some, because they have multiple interests, and if they lie in just the right way or omit just the right things, they can serve multiple masters without anybody really knowing, and there's always going to be some of that. But when Kristi Noem comes out and, says that that's not lying anymore, that's propaganda. Those are actually two different things. And the propaganda is far more... Lying is bad enough. This is deliberate propaganda. And it is the signal of the collapse of the ability to believe anything that this administration says. We've also discussed the disappearance of about 1,000 people from Alcatraz and the serious nature of this, because this government, which has been lying to us and giving us propaganda, says that they cannot locate these people. I have never heard of, I'm sure it's happened, but I've never heard of the loss of even one prisoner. That's not true. Yes, I have heard, like a couple years ago, there was a prisoner who was inadvertently confused for someone who was supposed to be released, and they released like a murderer with 16 life sentences, and they're just like, oh, go out the door. And he's like, okay, great, thanks. He hopped into a cab and left. Okay, that was a confusion. They figured it out, and they got him. Things like that do happen from time to time. I've never heard of a prisoner has vanished. Nobody knows where he is or even which detention facility he's in. They don't know whether he's in Alcatraz or Rikers Island. I mean, they got no idea. Could be Fort Leavenworth for all they know. No idea where he is. And really don't care, from what I can tell, either. That's shocking. And to have 800 disappear in a place where, by the way, if you were the mafia, that's the best. Alcatraz is great because you could kill someone and then just throw their body into the marsh, and there's no evidence because the alligators will just... I'm sure that's a coincidence. And I hate the fact that we have to start thinking of our government in terms like this, but we've seen multiple homicides in Minneapolis now, and the U.S. government has come out in defense of the killers before any evidence has come in. And then as the evidence starts to come in, it's crystal clear that everything the government is saying is complete fiction. Not even a guess. It's just fiction. It gets worse. This little girl is 7 years old. She got a nosebleed, and unable to stop it, her family decided that she needed to go to the hospital. They took her to the hospital, and while she was getting treated, ICE detained the entire family, split them up, and put each of them in a different detention center. She and her parents are all three now in the custody of ICE because she went to the hospital. What this means is immigrants, even legal immigrants, because they've been sweeping up, they've made no distinction that I can tell between legal and illegal immigrants. And even people who have their paperwork, who are here on asylum, are getting swept up by what even American citizens who were born and raised here are getting shot either in the face or in the back. What this does, and this is one of those situations where you can't tell which is the primary effect or the secondary effect. ICE says, well, at some point, these illegal immigrants are going to want to go to a hospital, so let's just hang out in hospitals and nail them as soon as they come in. And or, hey, if we hang out at enough hospitals, then even if they have a ruptured appendix, they're not going to go. Imagine having a 7-year-old child and having to decide, do you risk the entire family getting deported, maybe each to a different country, or stay and hope that the appendicitis doesn't kill your child? Those are the decisions that this, the greatest country in the world, is forcing upon even legal immigrants. And if you don't stand up and oppose this, there's something you should be aware of. There was a word for people who were in Germany during Hitler's rule, who were part of the party, but disagreed with it. They quietly disagreed with the Nazi Party and did not collaborate or assist in any way in the murder of anyone. Didn't rat out where Jews were hiding. Just remained silent members of the Nazi Party. The word for those people is Nazi. This is one of the really rare times where there's not a lot of gray area in between. In addition, a hot mic caught, and let me see, I want to make sure I've got this video, members of ICE lining up in order to target practice with their pepper ball bullets and tear gas on protesters, and they were seen taking turns. This is also on our Discord. I don't believe I have it lined up here. I can double check. Oh, I do have, I think I've got the, here we go. We've got the audio for it. So this is while they are targeting protesters who have, they're on their side of the line. I believe this is in the federal building in, I was going to say Texas, but I'll say Minneapolis. And the protesters were nonviolent, and as of this moment, had not crossed that line onto federal property. They were still on public property. Let's take a listen.
It's like Call of Duty. So cool, huh?
Oh, that was awfully quiet, and I can get the video too. So let me make that a little bit louder so you can all hear it. And then we will play the full clip video and audio. There we go. Let me bring that up. Let's see what they have to say.
It's like Call of Duty. So cool, huh?
Did you shoot? Take a shot. Take it. Take a shot. Hold on.
It just works that way. Fucking idiots.
They're pointing out the officer that clapped. A medical doctor was present. Now, a number of people have testified and given sworn depositions in court. We don't know to what end at this point. It is possible that the Minnesota police are planning on bringing charges. It appears that they have unofficially identified the shooter. The problem is they need an official identification, and the only organization that can do that is refusing to tell them. So in a press briefing for 𝐒𝐨𝐻𝐿, they said the exact same thing, which is they know who it is, but they can't, because they had no positive identification. You know, they only really know through hearsay. They know through, they've talked to 16 guys and they all said, yeah, it was this guy. They know who it is. The problem is they need an official identification because he was fully clothed and all this other stuff, and they need it from the feds, and that's normally not a problem, but in this case, in both cases, they're not giving it. The doctor who attempted to resuscitate Pratt said that he was at first not permitted to go when he had, as he was trying to get access to see if he could save the man. They were sitting there counting the bullet holes in his body, and there appeared to be no concern for if there was any chance of saving him. Former President Barack Obama has taken an extraordinary step, especially for him. I have always been very proud. I sort of see him as my president. Maybe we each have a president that, you know, I did like Bill Clinton until I found out he was a sexual predator. But because I liked him so much after his speech at the DNC that I joined his campaign, and I worked literally for his campaign. I've been in the same room with him several times, and I got a very nice letter for the work I've done. I've always been very proud, and he's made mistakes, and I'm aware of them. But I'm proud once again that of the former presidents, he seems to be the first to speak up. Now, he's got a problem. His integrity does not really allow him to criticize Donald Trump publicly. Having said that, his integrity also does not let him allow this to continue without challenge. He threads the needle in this. I think he does a beautiful job. Statement by President Obama and Miss Obama. The killing of Alex Pratt is a heartbreaking tragedy. It should also be the wake-up call to every American, regardless of party, that many of our core values as a nation are increasingly under assault. Federal law enforcement and immigration agents have a tough job, but Americans expect them to carry out their duties in a lawful, accountable way, and to work with, rather than against, state and local officials to ensure public safety. That is not what we are seeing in Minnesota. In fact, we are seeing the opposite. For weeks now, people across the country have been rightly outraged by the spectacle of masked ICE recruits and other, yeah, he calls them recruits, and I think that's a very good, I mean, these are, and you can see they were training, and they've talked about, we've seen internal memos about how they're sending people to Portland to train them, and not as in at a training facility, but by sending them out there live. And the lack of training we've already seen. We're going to see a little more in just a minute. Recruits and other federal agents acting with impunity and engaging in tactics that seem designed to intimidate, harass, provoke, and endanger the residents of a major American city. This is pretty fucking unambiguous. These unprecedented tactics, which even the former top lawyer of the Department of Homeland Security in the first Trump administration has characterized as embarrassing, lawless, and cruel, have now resulted in the fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens. And rather than trying to impose some semblance of discipline and accountability over the agents they've deployed, the president and the current administration officials seem eager to escalate the situation while offering public explanations for the shooting of Mr. Pratt and 𝐒𝐈𝐿 that aren't informed by any serious investigation and that appear to be directly contradicted by video evidence. This has to stop. I would hope that after this most recent tragedy, this administration officials will reconsider their approach. That's not going to happen. And start finding ways to work constructively with Governor Walz and Mayor Frey, as well as the state and local police, to avert more chaos and achieve legitimate enforcement goals. In the meantime, every American should support and draw inspiration from the wave of peaceful protests in Minneapolis and in other parts of this country. They are a timely reminder that ultimately it is up to each of us as citizens to speak out against injustice, protect our basic freedoms, and hold our government accountable. That was a statement by former President Barack Obama and his wife, Miss Obama. He is calling on every American to protest. In solidarity, the government of Vermont released this statement: "Enough. It is not acceptable for American citizens to be killed by federal agents for exercising their God-given and constitutional rights to protest their government. At best, these federal immigration operations are a complete failure of coordination of acceptable public safety and law enforcement practices, training, and leadership. At worst, it's a deliberate federal intimidation and incitement of American citizens that is resulting in the murder of Americans. Again, enough is enough. The president should pause these operations, de-escalate the situation, and resist the federal government's focus on on truly illegal immigrants and reset the federal government's focus on truly criminal illegal immigrants, which is what Donnie Boy has been saying that he would do from the beginning and was elected to do, and everyone said that's the only ones. And don't worry, though, Fox says that is the only ones he's going after. In the absence of presidential action, Congress and the courts must step up to restore constitutionality. This is the governor of a state joining several other governors in saying that essentially the Constitution has been compromised. In Philadelphia, I think this was 2 days ago, there was a protest, I think it was of about 10,000 people, many of them armed. We're seeing protests in Boston. We're seeing protests, obviously, in Portland, in Minnesota. Across the country, they are growing. Excuse me. The ice storm that we have spoken about is obviously going to impact that in Donald Trump's favor. But having said that, we are irrefutably, I think, in a state of national crisis. The snow has nothing to do with it. Every state is in a state of emergency because all of our fundamental rights appear to be up for grabs. Free speech, the Second Amendment, which, by the way, I'm not a fan of, but as of this moment is still a right. Again, I came out, as much as I think Rittenhouse is despicable, in the areas in which he violated no laws, including the fact that the law said he could have that weapon, I came out and said, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. I don't think he should be allowed to have that weapon, but the law said he could. We are a nation of laws, and I don't get to pick and choose to enforce or follow only the ones I like. And if we don't help enforce all of them and to protect the weakest among us, we will be next. Kash Patel came out and gave his opinion as to why this shooting was in fact justified. Let's have a listen.
thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. It feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
All right. Obviously, there is no evidence that any of what he just said happened. In fact, all the video footage shows that ICE attacked him. He had his camera out. We've shown the footage 100 times. I'm not showing it again. It is on our Discord, too, from every angle. We've seen it. ICE attacked him, pepper sprayed him twice, and then when he was on the ground, shot him twice. Everyone backed away so that they wouldn't get shot as well. He tried to get up, but he was on his knees. He had been on the fetal position on the ground, shot in the back. He tried to get up, and then the officer unloaded his magazine into him. This is another apologist talking about the same situation.
I think that there are a lot of paid agitators who are ginning things up, and the governor has not done a good job of tamping this down.
Yeah. As you know, he was an ICU nurse, worked for the Veterans Administration, and there's no evidence that he brandished the gun whatsoever. In fact,
but he brought a gun. Have you ever gone to a protest, Jonathan?
We do have a Second Amendment in this country that...
Jonathan, have you ever gone to a protest?
Have
you gone to a protest?
As a reporter covering it.
Okay, I've been to a protest. Guess what? I didn't bring a gun. I brought a billboard.
Okay. Secretary Besson, thank you for joining us. Coming up, we'll have the latest...
All right. I would like to make two shockingly obvious statements. One, it doesn't matter whether you would have brought a gun. If the man is licensed to carry a concealed weapon and licensed to carry it in public spaces, then he can bring a gun. I would rather that law not exist. It does, and you cannot shoot, arrest, or detain someone if they're following the law. Period, end of discussion. So everything that you just heard is hogwash. I would also like to point out that a number of the people who are saying you shouldn't bring a gun to a protest have one problem with that statement. The problem is that on January 6th, we saw a number of people carrying guns, even breaking into the Capitol building. And these people are such heroes that it's been, what has it been rebranded? Liberation Day? These spectacular protesters, these patriots, who are now, many of them, a part of ICE. So anyone who was present on January 6th has been at a protest where there were quite a few guns, and even a number of deaths of police officers. But they were for Trump. So we call them patriots and give them pardons and put them in the ICE. Meanwhile, ICU nurses who have served this country and try to heal others who have served this country, well, if they bring a gun, keep it holstered and concealed so that they don't cause a scene. Well, them we have to murder, shoot in the back after we've taken them to the ground with 6 officers and 2 shots of pepper spray to the face. The only difference between the two is one supports Trump. This is authoritarianism. This is literally the fall of democracy if we do not start to acknowledge it and do something serious about it. And in the sense that Obama said, Obama was for peaceful protests. And I would like to point out, Oh, I'm sorry. This is awfully inconvenient. I didn't mean to show this picture. Here's Trump supporters with what appear to be AR-15s and an American flag. But as Kash Patel said, I'm sorry, I forget already what Kash Patel said.
I mean, thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. I mean, it feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christie said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's
that simple. It's that simple, says the director of the FBI. It's that simple. All of these men were pardoned for not only bringing the weapons to a, quote, protest, but for breaking into the Capitol building and killing 5 police officers. Sorry, Capitol police officers. And, yeah, it's that simple. I'm glad Mr. Patel and Katie Numph find that simple. My, how opinions do change once you're in power. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the live chat. I haven't checked the live chat in quite some time. And there's 1 or 2 other things that we are going to follow up on. Let me see. This was, we've been following social media, and that's one of the things we try to do. If you're new here on In Time, we try to hold the regular media to account, and we compare New York Times, Reuters, AP, CBS, CNN, Fox News, MS Now, I guess they're called. And we try to compare what we can see and find and research and find on Facebook and verify and go through. And it's very important to us to see what's being said and see if we can read where people are going. And there was the Reddit military channel seems to be reasonably split right now between people who say this guy deserved it. What do you think's going to happen when you walk up with a gun, to others who say, "What? We're in the military. Of course we're going to have guns and we have a constitutional right to have them. What law did he break that merited even being detained?" But this one was, I thought, an interesting one, so I'd like to put this up here. I said this was going to happen again and again, and I meant it. Their goal is unrest. That's why they're doing this shit, exactly where the 2020 riots began. Now, their bought influencers are calling for martial law right on cue. And we do have, Trump yesterday did say that martial law should be imposed. Why? We all saw what happened by now. We have eyes. They executed a guy in cold blood. He did not draw a gun on them. He was no threat. They had him on the ground, pinned in a fetal position by 6 guys, and they emptied magazines into him. No matter how blatant it gets, they will continue to defend it, continue to gaslight, continue to argue the inarguable. Our leadership is completely deranged and lawless. Okay, that's the statement by... Meanwhile, at least the Senate is doing something. Yesterday, after this happened, Chuck Schumer said that the Senate would not pass Department of Homeland Security funding until ICE was completely defunded. He did not ask for accountability. He did not ask for a compromise. He said, and he did ask for accountability, but that was not a condition, I should say. He said, until ICE, what ICE is doing can be understood, completely defund Department of Homeland Security and go through it with a fine-tooth comb. To that end, a number of committee hearings have been scheduled, and They are inviting various members of the Department of Homeland Security to attend. Now, they had been informally invited to attend previously, which means that they could not show up and it would not be contempt of Congress. They are now formally being requested. I do not know if 𝐒𝐨𝐬𝐜𝐿, Kristi Noem, I don't know why I keep going to Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem has been sent an official what is it? Is it a subpoena to come to Congress to testify? But I suspect she will be. We know of 3 that have gone out so far to upper levels of Department of Homeland Security. I don't know what that means. Now, I am going to check the live chat, but while I do that, I'm going to play a video for you that I think is very interesting. And let me check the audio on this one as well. The audio would have been a little quiet. So we're going to play this one as I start to go through the live chat. I know we've had some super chats. We haven't gotten to it. I wanted to make sure I hit some of the bases here before we get to that. So let's give this a listen.
What you trying to do? They have active applications. They're here.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Don't push me.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Why would you push somebody?
I'm going to play this again. He rammed into her. He rammed it. You can tell he rammed into her, and he blames her and essentially says he's going to threaten her if he comes within arm's length again, even though he's the one who did it. This is exactly what the officer who shot Renee Good did, which is he put himself in front of the vehicle just enough that it would give him the ability to use lethal force against her. Watch this very closely.
What you trying to do? They have active applications. They're here.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Don't push me.
Don't put your phone in my face.
Why would you push somebody?
Stay arm's length away from me. Stay arm's length away from me. Next time I'll take you into custody. I don't know who you play with in the past, but I'll take you in.
I'm an attorney.
I don't care. I don't care. If you violate the law, guess what, immigration attorney? You'll be standing in court too.
I'm standing right here.
18 U.S.C. 111.
So you're going to come after me? You're going to shoot me? These guys have active asylum applications. There's nothing wrong with them. Why are you trying to pick them up?
You don't know what they have.
So why are you trying to pick them up? You have no idea. It's not legal.
It's none of your business.
It is my business. I'm their attorney. It's exactly my business. Get the fuck out of this apartment. Get out of here. Just leave. These guys are here legally. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're funny. What are you trying to do? I'm arm's length.
Yeah, good. You learned your lesson.
So get out of
You're
here.
a wise attorney.
Get the fuck out. Go. Can't believe you're not afraid to show your face. Get out of here. You must not be from around here. You're touching your pepper spray? You gonna pepper spray me? Do you have a warrant?
So under their conditions.
No, do you have a warrant?
I need a warrant.
Yeah, the fuck you do. Get out. Get out.
Cops making warrantless arrests all the day.
Yeah, it's illegal. It's against due process. Get out. It is.
If you develop
You are not an attorney. Get out.
you would know that we could take the person into
Why are you
custody.
without arm's length? You just came up to me. So back off. Arm's length. Right now. Don't you dare push me again.
Under 220.
Get the fuck out!
Bravo.
ICE is here! ICE is here! Do not come out! Get the fuck out now!
We go where we want to go, and we stay as long as we want to stay.
Because you're such tough guys. You're such tough guys.
Maybe you should just walk your ass inside.
Get out.
And then we probably leave.
Just get out.
We're disrespectful.
You show me a warrant.
You're funny.
You show me a warrant.
220 Alpha. Or
No. Show me a paper that you can pick up these specific people.
Listen.
There is due process, and you guys are not following it. So get in your car and get the fuck out.
There are also conditions of release.
You have no idea what these people are here on.
You have no idea.
No, I do because I'm their attorney.
Okay, so what were their
So
conditions
get
of
out.
release? What
I'm not telling you because you don't know.
They were alternative to the
Get
detention,
out.
right? Alternative to
No,
detention?
get out.
We're going to go arrest other people.
You have no idea what it is. Get the fuck out of here. And try to grow up here. Do something good for your living.
I'm talking really politely to you. I know you're trying to get under my skin.
No, I care. I care about people. All right, so get in your car and leave.
Yes.
Where are you coming in from?
That's none of your business.
No?
Nope.
We care about people.
Holy shit, the balls on that woman. Woo. Wow. But I do have to, just because I'm sure all of our audience saw it and understood it, but I just want to, as crystal clear as possible, at this moment right here, he literally jumps and takes a step forward. I have to play this. I have to play this again. Watch him very closely. He takes a step forward, rams into her camera, and then says, "Back away. What are you doing? You can't get that close." Let's. This is really important because this is the attitude of all of them. This is how they are being trained. This is what they are doing. It is deliberate instigation, and it is the official policy as of this moment of at least one branch, if not all the branches of Homeland Security.
What you trying to do? They have active applications. They're here.
Put your phone in my face.
He walked straight into her. He turned, and then he actually stuck his chest out so he could hit her. Yes, they believe they're above the law. And they said we can stay as long as we want. We don't need a warrant. None of which is true. None of which is true. In fact, actually, right now they're on private property. The roads are public property. A supermarket parking lot is private property. It's owned by the supermarket. These roads right here, and you can see there's a golf cart. You can see there's fencing. This is some kind of community. And there is going to be some community entity that is responsible for clearing the snow and is responsible for these roads. Or I shouldn't say the roads, because they're not roads. This is the inside the community. So he's already on private property without a warrant, despite the fact that he hasn't gone into a house. KD9 WNV gifted 1 membership, his good deed of the day. Thank you, sir. I've noticed you actually tend to have more than one good deed because I've seen you on other channels, but thank you, sir. Dunk on you, $20. Insane world, insane country, Slava Ukraine, Heroyam Slava. Yeah. I get disappointed that one of the things I have to say on more than one occasion is that Adolf Hitler was not a monster. I don't like saying that, but we have to recognize he wasn't. The reason we have to recognize that is because once you realize he was human, you realize the people who followed him were human. The people who followed and joined the SS were human. That means we're all capable of it, at least some parts of it. We're not all, even no matter how much stress we get put under, we're not all going to be Hitler. But none of us are going to be free of hatred, anger, aggression. Hopefully all of us know love. Hopefully all of us know empathy. We know not everybody does. So there's going to be, but this guy here doesn't. He's not like. I don't have it up anymore. But that guy is not like any human being I would ever want to be friends with. But he's a part of the species, which really bums me the fuck out because I'm like, you are lowering the goddamn gene pool. But that notwithstanding, one of the reasons it's important to remember that is because once you realize that Hitler was human, you realize that in any human society, somebody just like him could rise to power because we are capable of doing that. And we try to build a society that has laws that isn't going to, but that's the goal. And just as Pratt had said in the beginning, freedom isn't free, and you have to protest, and you have to, sometimes you end up in wars with other countries, and it takes work because the instinct of people like this exists in some people, and you can't eliminate it. And when they're put into power, you're going to have a problem. One such problem is this. Sullivan Elementary. Hello, Sullivan families. We have learned that ICE is sending out flyers offering food support to families. For your safety, do not respond to these offers. If your family is in need of support, please contact the school, and we will connect you with social workers. Communities are having to take up the slack of what the government used to do, because the government has become openly hostile. The government is now lying. The government is drawing people in. If you're Jewish and you need help, just get on one of these trains we've got. And I'm not using hyperbole because, and I think I forgot to finish this story, they lost 1,000 people at Alligator or Alcatraz. Nobody knows where they are. The government that is supposed to have ultimate accountability and is presumably professional lost 8,000. But they're not concerned about these 8,000. They're not sitting, or not 8,000, 1,000. They're not concerned. They're not sitting there saying like, well, they may have been released, we're going to have to catch them or something. They're not concerned. Why not? They don't know what facility they're in. All we know is they walked into Alligator Alcatraz, and there is no paperwork on them since. We have no evidence they walked out alive anywhere. Sounds like a death camp to me. Let's see. I think there was one more. Oh, I hadn't finished so Dunk on You also gifted 5 memberships, and Just Not Gold, $5. They all brought their guns to Lexington, Massachusetts in 1775 when resisting their own country's army. Yes. That was a revolution, though. I'm hoping that was separate circumstances. It's not the same yet. We're not there yet. I am going to play... Now, is this a weather alert or... Hold on a sec. I have a video. I don't even know what this is. Give me a second.
I think that there are a lot of paid agitators.
Oh, yes, we did play that. Wow. One last thing. A woman was walking past the Department of Homeland Security, and she was not a protester. She was too old to be a protester. She had a cane, and my understanding, well, let's, oh, okay, now this was, okay, this was, so this was, yeah, here we go. And there's no sound of this, so let me see if I can get that fixed. So if you look at the beginning of the video, she's walking by the building. She's not walking towards it. She's not instigating. She's walking past it. She's on her way to another location. She doesn't appear to have been protesting. And they literally come out of the building in force, yank her off the street. So essentially kind of a SWAT team just came out, and there were clearly protesters there because you can hear the drums. This was recorded, so there were protesters there recording. She had some kind of backpack on. She may have previously been protesting. I don't know. What I do know is she wasn't protesting at that moment. She was leaving. She was walking somewhere. Maybe going home, maybe going to a protest. I don't know. But she was on the other side of the street, so she couldn't have been claimed to have been on federal property. She's walking away. They come out, snag her, yank her right back into the building. Why? I want you to think about this for a second. There were protesters there they could have snagged. There was the guy recording this they could have snagged, who, by the way, they didn't snag him. And he's got this all recorded. Why snag a random woman and not the guy recording you doing it? And it's clear, they go right by it. He's yelling at them. He's got there's no way they didn't see it. They want this to go viral. They want people to be afraid to go anywhere near the building, because at any time the building could come out, snatch you, and pull you in. That's why they didn't arrest the guy with the camera. That's why they didn't arrest the drummers. That's why they arrested a completely innocent person walking by. So that you realize it doesn't matter if you're guilty or not. You come anywhere near us, this is what's going to happen. So, Just Not Gold, they are afraid of the woman by herself. No, they're not. That's the point. Well, that's not really the point. The point is, even a woman all by herself isn't safe. Even, it doesn't matter if you're a protester. Even someone who's not doing anything isn't safe if you're going to fuck with them or go anywhere even near the building right now. This is to send a message: we can and will get anybody. And the only way they can send that message is to get an innocent person who's no threat at all, snag them, and make sure you're recorded doing it, and you let the guy with the recording go. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me there's any other reason for letting this. Now, in previous, when they murder someone on video, then they crack skulls of anyone who's got a recording of it, because that's a problem. That goes against the narrative. But this, again, and I've said this before for the people who get thoroughly dismayed and worried by all of this, and these are scary times. But I'd like to point a few things out, not the least of which is we have the language in this. You have to parse and watch very carefully. Because he is a responsible human being, you'll notice he uses the words appears like, or this or that. And he's very cautious to make sure he hedges and guards, and doesn't directly accuse anybody of anything. But having said that, is as forceful as he possibly can be. And yet, rather than trying to impose some semblance of discipline and accountability over agents they've deployed, the president and current administration officials seem eager to escalate the situation. He knows they're eager to escalate. He knows exactly what's going on. But the dignity of being a former president and of behaving in a civilized way doesn't permit him the right to say that yet. This is what a true statesman looks like. But what I'd like to point out is that if you see what Mayor Fry, Governor Walz, what Senator Mitch McConnell, not Mitch McConnell, dear Lord, my brain is in what Senator, the exact opposite of Mitch McConnell, used to be the minority leader in the House. God, I can see his face. But what he's written about what's going on, I want to make something clear. People know it. People see this. I'm sure that people saw 𝐍𝐢𝐜𝐴𝐷 Germany as it converted into Nazi Germany. I don't know if they didn't speak loud enough. I don't know if they were too intimidated. I don't know if because there wasn't a recent historical precedent, nobody could see it in the same way. This is the former president of the United States. Read this letter and tell me that he does not know exactly what's going on in this country. When you read the statement from, again, this is from the governor of Vermont, governor of Minnesota. Portland is going to get involved soon. Oregon is going to get involved soon. Portland's already involved. And there are protests in Boston. The governor of Massachusetts is going to get involved. We are getting involved at the state level, which is good and bad. It's good because it means our states still represent us, and that's something that 𝐒𝐨𝐻𝐼𝐸𝐼ng has repeatedly on this show reiterated to people, and Commander has done as well, which is get to know your state representatives and state government, because the states are having to push back against the federal government at this point. Where it goes and how far that goes is going to be up to Trump, I think, and up to how far states want to take it. But for those of you who feel like we live in Gestapo times, remember you're not the only one who sees it, and there are people in power who represent the states and who are in the Senate and who are in the House who see it. We've played clips of what they've had to say, and they recognize this as an authoritarian takeover of the country. So you're not alone. I hope you'll join us on the Discord, and thank you very much. If you could like and subscribe, it really does help. We don't ask because we think it makes us sound cool. We're aware it makes us sound like desperate or whatever, but it helps. So we always have to remind people. And if you like what this content is, please share it and get other people to subscribe. That's the only way we're going to grow, and that helps us stay running. I would like to thank you all for joining us tonight. If there's any breaking news, we will go live with it, and we're staying on it as long as it happens. We've done this before. We're going to continue to do it. We're very proud of what we do. I'd like to thank everyone who's contributed, all of our mods, everyone who's contributed in the news, from which I always draw heavily, and genuinely look forward to seeing all of my American brothers and sisters the next time we have to have a discussion about what's going on here. Thank you all, and have a good night.